Imagine a hacker stealing billions of dollars from one of the world's most secure banks without firing a single shot. In this story, we follow Shi Wang, a genius hacker who creates a master plan right under the police's nose. The story begins in 2025, when a dangerous criminal group known as the Shadows Gang rules the underworld. Their team includes experts in every field, from hackers to assassins, making them almost impossible for the police to stop. Their heist is so advanced that it makes even the greatest criminal plans look ordinary. Shi Wang secretly infiltrates the police's advanced surveillance network with such precision that officers in the control room only notice a small glitch. They assume it is just a minor system error, but moments later, alarms start ringing across the station. The police receive shocking news that one of the city's most secure banks has been robbed, with billions of dollars stolen. They immediately activate their powerful AI surveillance system, SkyEye, which can scan the city's cameras within seconds. The AI quickly tracks the criminal's vehicle, and several police units rush toward the location to capture them. When the police arrive to catch the criminals, they are shocked to find the street completely empty. However, the vehicle is still moving on the control room screens. That is when they realize the truth. Not only the bank, but the entire police network has been hacked. During the investigation the next day, another shocking detail comes out. The stolen vault belonged to a billionaire businessman who had hidden half of the password to his $500 billion crypto account inside a notebook stored there. The criminals didn't just steal money, they also gained access to one of the world's largest digital fortunes. Meanwhile, the Shadows Gang begins preparing for their next mission. Their target is a massive building at Macau Tower, where the headquarters of a digital currency company is located. After entering the building, they take the employees hostage and force their way to the company's main server. The gang leader, John, appears to be in control, but the real mastermind behind everything is Bill. Once they access the system, they discover that some of the biggest crypto investors in the country are among the company's clients. One account alone holds more than $10 billion. John realizes that stealing such a huge amount would bring unimaginable danger, so he tells Bill that they should leave this opportunity behind. But Bill had reached a point where his greed was impossible to control. He tells his partner Max to copy the entire data, and within minutes, the office turns into a battlefield. The police receive the attack report and begin sealing every floor of the building. Meanwhile, the gang extracts the data from the server and rushes toward the elevator. However, their leader John is nowhere with them. He sits calmly inside a cafe in the lobby, drinking coffee to avoid suspicion. But his luck changes when a woman accidentally takes his picture. Nobody notices it at the time, but this photo will later become the biggest piece of evidence in the entire case. Inside the elevator, a fierce fight breaks out between the police and the criminals. During the chaos, the gang captures Captain Sam as a hostage. The officers cannot shoot because they might hit their captain, allowing the criminals to escape with Sam toward the upper floors. However, Sam refuses to give up. When he gets an opportunity, he fights back and manages to take on 4 criminals alone for a while. But outnumbered and exhausted, he is eventually defeated, handcuffed, and taken toward the rooftop. The police chase after them, but they are already too late. As the criminals reach the roof, they make a move that nobody expected. The criminals jump straight from the massive tower, using special parachutes to escape. During the chaos, a woman starts falling, and Sam risks his own life to save her. Because of this, the criminals escape once again. Meanwhile, Bill hacks the building's entire elevator system, leaving Sam with no way down. He is forced to grab a maintenance cable and descend from the tower, risking his life. Somehow, he survives the dangerous fall. On the other side, the gang has already moved toward another part of the city. Soon, they land on the rooftop of a large hotel and believe they are finally safe. But the police are already waiting for them. Using their masks, high-tech jackets, and clever tactics, the criminals manage to confuse the officers once again. Within minutes, they disappear inside the hotel. Bill then erases all security camera data from the building, leaving the police with no footage or digital evidence. For the first time, their advanced AI system becomes completely useless. The officers are forced to return to old-fashioned methods. They place small cameras on their bodies and enter the hotel disguised as ordinary guests. Everything appears normal from the outside, but every camera is sending live footage to facial recognition software scanning the area continuously. Meanwhile, John is also preparing his next move. John keeps changing his appearance every few minutes. Sometimes he becomes a tourist, then a hotel employee, and even a security guard. Catching him seems almost impossible, but then Captain Sam notices something familiar. During the elevator fight, Sam had spotted his earring, and that tiny detail becomes the key to identifying him. Sam immediately follows him, but Max disappears into the crowd as if he was never there. Meanwhile, the AI system detects a face that does not exist in its database. The police chase after the person, but this is another trick by John. He intentionally bumps into an officer, causing the camera feed to become unclear for a few seconds. In that brief moment, the entire gang escapes. By the time the police regain control, the criminals have vanished from the hotel. The next day, the billionaire whose crypto account was stolen arrives at the police station, furious about the loss. Even the most advanced AI system continues to fail. Then Senior Officer Laura mentions a name that leaves everyone silent. She says they need to bring back the retired legendary officer Ong. Sam laughs, wondering what an old man can do in a high-tech world, but Laura reminds him that machines have already lost. The criminals are always several steps ahead of AI. The police now need someone who can read human behavior instead of relying on computers. Soon, two officers, Rock and Helen, set out to find Ong. He was once the police force's most feared undercover agent, with a record filled with heroic achievements and dangerous missions. However, his past also carried a painful memory. His former partner, who was Helen's father, had died during a mission. When Rock and Helen finally find Ong, they are surprised to see him calmly walking his dog instead of fighting criminals. Nobody would believe that this quiet old man was once a legend in the underworld. Helen follows him to a cafe and tries to approach him while pretending to be a student. But moments later, Ong walks to her table himself and smiles, saying that if she is going to follow him all day, she should at least be more professional. Helen is shocked, but the bigger surprise comes when she learns that Ong had secretly stolen Rock's police badge without anyone noticing. His age may have increased, but his observation skills and instincts are still as sharp as ever. Later, Ong arrives at the police station and reviews the case footage. While the AI system fails after scanning thousands of videos, Ong quickly finds important clues because he believes every criminal looks at a camera at least once to check if it is active. That small habit often exposes a criminal's identity. After repeatedly reviewing the footage, Ong manages to recognize several members of the gang. Meanwhile, John is furious at Bill in their hideout. He blames Bill's greed for almost ruining the entire mission and allowing their faces to be captured on camera for the first time. John brutally attacks him and warns that if they get caught, all the blame will fall on Bill. But Bill refuses to stop. He has already created an even bigger plan because he believes that if this final mission succeeds, the entire gang can disappear forever with billions of dollars. When Max tries to calm the argument between them, John angrily pushes him away. The situation becomes so intense that the other gang members have to step in and stop the fight. Back at the police station, Ong continues studying every image and screenshot. His attention keeps returning to a mysterious man wearing a long coat. When he sees the photo accidentally taken by the woman at the hotel, Ong realizes this person is no ordinary criminal. A name from his past comes back to him: Shadow. Once a member of the world's most dangerous assassination unit, Shadow mysteriously disappeared years ago. Ong understands they are not dealing with an ordinary gang, but the Shadow's gang. He orders a new surveillance unit, but quickly realizes the police have become too dependent on AI. The old undercover and surveillance teams had been shut down years ago. The methods that made Ong a legend were almost forgotten within the police force. The next day, while Helen is training at the gym, some officers start making fun of her, saying she is too small and weak to become a police officer. At first, she ignores them, but when they cross the line, she loses her patience. Within seconds, she takes down one of the officers in front of everyone. The entire gym watches in shock, while Ong quietly observes from a distance. Later, he approaches Helen and tells her that she has earned his respect. That night, Ong sits alone on the rooftop, remembering his old partner, his best friend who died during a mission. That man was none other than Helen's father. In his heart, Ong promises his friend that he will never let anything happen to his daughter. The next day, training for the new surveillance team begins. Ong teaches them how a real undercover officer operates, how to move, blend into crowds, and notice even the smallest details without attracting attention. His most important rule is that they should never look like police officers. The team enters the streets disguised as ordinary people, with some reading newspapers, some drinking coffee, and others simply walking around. But Ong has a different plan for Helen. He keeps her away from the rest of the team and places her with him inside the van. In his eyes, Helen is his hidden trump card. Meanwhile, 12 days pass, and Bill begins preparing for his final and biggest mission. He discovers a digital vault containing billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency. If this mission succeeds, the entire gang can disappear forever. As the days go by, Ong's surveillance team slowly gets closer to the criminals, but nothing significant happens for several days. They simply continue blending into the crowd and monitoring people. On the 15th day, while Helen goes outside to get food, she notices a group of drunk men harassing several women. She immediately moves toward them, but Ong stops her and reminds her that they are undercover and should call regular police instead. Helen ignores him and starts a fight. She takes on several attackers alone and initially defeats them easily, but the enemies are too many. Soon, the situation gets out of control. Just then, Ong arrives and takes down the men who were so confident in their strength that moments earlier, they were lying on the ground in pain. Later, inside the van, Ong angrily scolds Helen, telling her that she has put the entire mission in danger. Ong questions Helen's decision, asking how she could start a fight while being undercover. Helen's answer is simple. If they cannot help ordinary people as police officers, then there is no point in just watching from the shadows. For the first time, a serious argument breaks out between them. Realizing this, Ong decides it is time to reveal the truth. He tells her that many years ago, he and Helen's father spent 8 months on an undercover mission together. One day, they discovered criminals kidnapping a child. According to their orders, they should have stayed hidden, but Ong could not stand by and watch. He rushed into the fight and was badly injured. Just when the criminals were about to kill him, Helen's father stepped in and saved his life. However, he could not survive and was killed by the criminals. Hearing this story, Helen's eyes fill with tears, and Ong becomes emotional as well. He explains that the hardest part of being a police officer is not pulling the trigger, but waiting for the right moment because one wrong decision can cost a life. Just then, fate gives them a major opportunity. In the middle of a crowded market, Ong spots the person he has been searching for, John. The entire team becomes alert, and Ong orders everyone not to look directly at him or point any cameras toward him. Everything had to look completely natural, as if they were just ordinary people. John was not only dangerous but extremely cautious. The moment he felt two people were watching him, they immediately pretended to be a couple to avoid suspicion. Ong realized that months of hard work were finally paying off. The team followed John without raising any alarms and discovered that he entered a building. However, Helen decided to go inside alone, which was a very risky move. John noticed her, became suspicious, and slowly reached into his pocket, preparing a knife. Watching the footage from a distance, Ong quickly understood that John had identified Helen. He rushed into the building and immediately pretended to be Helen's father. He even secretly removed her Bluetooth device so John would not become suspicious. Then he calmly sat beside John and acted as if they were meeting for the first time. During their conversation, Ong offered John an apple. It looked completely ordinary, but a tiny camera was hidden inside it. The moment John held the apple, the camera captured a clear image of his face. Finally, the police had their best shot of John. However, the mission was not over yet. John remained alert and continued watching them. Ong then entered a nearby apartment and calmed down a frightened woman inside. Using the hidden cameras installed in the elevator, the team discovers which floor John has gone to. Rock immediately places more cameras on that floor, and soon they get their biggest breakthrough: John's exact address. After finding apartment number 22, Ong wastes no time. The team rents a place across the street and begins monitoring John's every move. For hours, they watch him through cameras and binoculars, tracking when he leaves, when he stays inside, and every small detail of his routine. But the strangest thing is that John does not appear to be preparing for any major operation. The team even starts examining his discarded trash. One day, they find a pile of torn puzzle pieces. At first, they seem like nothing more than old scraps of paper, but Ong believes there is a hidden message behind them. The problem is that nobody on the team can understand what the puzzle means. Meanwhile, John sits comfortably in his room, popping bubble wrap. A few days later, Ong gets closer to him by creating a new identity and pretending to be his neighbor. They meet at a market, and John himself starts a conversation. He notices Ong's strong hands and asks if he uses guns. Ong casually says he has only worked out since childhood. John is not completely convinced, but the conversation ends peacefully. Later, Ong invites him to dinner. That evening, Ong and Helen prepare inside the nearby apartment. When John arrives, he carefully observes the entire room. During dinner, he keeps asking questions to test whether their stories match each other. But he does not know that Ong remembers every small detail about Helen's childhood. Because of this, their answers perfectly match without any hesitation. By the end of the night, John's suspicion has greatly reduced. However, the moment he returns to his apartment, he orders Bill to investigate their entire background. The police are already prepared, so Ong and Helen's fake identities, records, and histories are all perfectly created in the system. Everything seems to be going according to plan, and John slowly begins trusting them. The police believe they have finally reached the gang's most dangerous member, but suddenly, there is a knock on the door. The moment Ong opens it, the attacker strikes without hesitation. The attacker is Tim, Bill's twin brother. Tim is a highly trained and extremely dangerous fighter. A brutal fight breaks out inside the room. Ong manages to knock away Tim's first gun, but then he realizes Tim has another weapon. Gunshots echo through the apartment, while Bill watches the entire fight live from a distance. Surprisingly, there is not even a hint of worry on his face. The attack was not a sudden decision. It was part of a plan Bill had created in advance. During dinner, he secretly hacked Helen's phone. Now he had access not only to her data, but also to several police cameras and surveillance systems. Meanwhile, the surveillance team across the street still believed everything was normal. Their screens showed nothing unusual, proving once again that technology was Bill's most powerful weapon. However, he made one small mistake. The surveillance team became suspicious when Helen suddenly appeared in front of them, while their screens showed her still inside the room. The mismatch immediately revealed that their cameras had been hacked again. The entire team rushed to investigate, and at that moment, Bill warned his brother Tim that the police were getting close. Hearing this, Tim increased his attack. He fired continuously, forcing Ong to take cover. Then he used a special cable to jump from the balcony and escape through a window. By the time the police arrived, he had already disappeared. The next day, the surveillance team returned to duty while the police searched John's apartment. They discovered an entire cabinet filled with bubble wrap. Ong immediately realized it was connected to the mysterious torn puzzle pieces they had found in the trash. Before Ong can fully understand the mystery, the situation suddenly goes out of control. A heavy truck speeds in and crashes into the police van, sending it spinning into the police building. Within seconds, many officers inside are injured or knocked unconscious. Moments later, a large group of armed criminals jumps out of the truck and launches an attack on the station. Several officers are killed, and explosives are used to destroy multiple police vehicles. The attack is so massive that it looks like the criminals have declared war on the entire police force. However, Lara quickly realizes that this is not their real target. She understands it is only a distraction. She orders the surveillance team to stay in position no matter what and continue monitoring John. Meanwhile, Helen regains consciousness, pulls the injured Ong out of the vehicle, grabs a fallen weapon, and joins the fight. Within minutes, she takes down several attackers. Soon, Ong also wakes up, and together they launch a counterattack. During the battle, Ong suddenly realizes something important. The torn puzzle pieces contained a hidden code written in Braille, which John could read using the bubble wrap. This discovery could completely change the case. Ong immediately tells Helen to contact the intelligence team and uncover the meaning behind the code. The battle inside the police station becomes even more intense. Another group of criminals manages to break deep into the building. Meanwhile, two members of the surveillance team finally locate John at an old orphanage. But before they can send the information to the police, the entire station loses power and the communication system goes offline. At that moment, another group of attackers arrives at the orphanage to eliminate John. During the fight, John realizes that Bill has betrayed him and wants him gone. However, despite his age, John is still extremely dangerous. Armed with a knife, he takes on several attackers alone and manages to defeat them all, even while suffering serious injuries. Back at the police station, the battle continues because the criminal's main target is Ong. His capture is worth the highest reward because he is considered their biggest threat. But Ong is still a skilled fighter, and he takes down several attackers one by one. Meanwhile, Helen hides inside the building while trying to send the Braille code information. A female criminal attacks her, leading to a brutal hand-to-hand fight. After a long struggle, Helen defeats her by throwing her out of a window. Soon, police backup arrives and the bloody battle finally ends. At the orphanage, John has already defeated the attackers when Tim arrives and reveals that the entire plan was his idea because he knew John had become a threat. Tim came to eliminate John, and the next moment, a deadly fight begins between them. Both fighters are equally skilled, exchanging powerful attacks. During the battle, Tim crashes through a window and falls, only to realize that a knife has pierced his stomach. He makes one final attempt to attack, but John uses Tim's own weapon against him and finishes the fight. With that, Bill loses his most trusted partner and his own brother forever. Meanwhile, the police surround the orphanage. When Bill learns about Tim's death, he is completely devastated. With no options left, he decides to execute his final and biggest plan. Before disappearing, He makes his last move, knowing the situation is slipping beyond his control. At the same time, Lara tells Ong and Helen that after the previous cyber attack, the police transferred billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency into their secure digital vault for protection. It seemed like the safest decision, but the real danger was still waiting. When they check the vault, everyone is shocked to find it completely empty. The investigation reveals that during the police station attack, the criminals entered disguised as backup officers. While everyone was busy saving injured officers and fighting the attackers, they quietly stole all the digital assets. Meanwhile, John survives the destruction of the orphanage and silently looks at the ruins and Tim's body. The police surround John, but surprisingly, he does not try to escape this time. He calmly surrenders and says he is ready to confess everything. Meanwhile, the AI system at the police station is activated again, and within moments, it tracks the van carrying the stolen cryptocurrency. The entire police force rushes after it and follows the criminals to a large hotel, where they split up in different directions to confuse the officers. During the chaos, Ong reaches the hotel's laundry room and finally comes face to face with Bill. After months of chasing each other, the two enemies meet for the first time. A brutal fight begins immediately, but Bill is not alone. Two of his men join the battle, forcing Ong to fight three opponents at once. Outside, a huge event is taking place with thousands of people gathered. Helen suspects that Bill may use the crowd to disappear, and she is right. Meanwhile, John receives his phone back inside the police van. The police know that if anyone can reach Bill, it is John. They ask him to call Bill, but there is a problem. The gang's devices cannot be tracked. Technology is no longer enough. Now, only human observation can catch the criminals hiding among the massive crowd. Helen searches through thousands of faces, looking for one person. Helen needed to identify someone talking on the phone. Meanwhile, inside the hotel laundry room, Ong continues fighting Bill's men. At that moment, Helen remembers Ong's advice that criminals often look at cameras without realizing it because it becomes a habit. In the crowd, she notices a man repeatedly checking the surrounding cameras and people. She suspects it could be Bill, but before she can inform the team, everything changes. John suddenly attacks the police, releases gas grenades, and escapes during the confusion. Meanwhile, Rock finds Helen and gives her his earpiece so she can stay connected with the team. Later, when Bill heads toward the train station, Rock follows him alone. Unfortunately, he runs into John on the way. Without warning, John attacks him and stabs him with a knife. Rock collapses, and the officer who fought alongside the team for so long takes his final breaths. John then reaches Bill, but there is no trust left between them. Realizing that his own people betrayed him, John loses control and repeatedly attacks Bill in anger. Before dying, Bill finally reveals the password to the stolen cryptocurrency fortune to John. Moments later, the gang's most dangerous hacker dies, becoming a victim of his own greed. When Helen reaches Rock, it is already too late. Meanwhile, the police arrest the remaining members of Bill's gang, but the biggest threat is still free: John. He now has the password and access to the stolen digital fortune. The police have no solid evidence to find him, and once again, John disappears like a shadow. Soon, Helen realizes something important. John may know the password, but converting such a massive digital fortune into cash would not be easy. He would need help from someone powerful. The police wait for that exact opportunity. Eventually, they learn that John is planning to meet a powerful businessman to make a deal involving the stolen cryptocurrency. Helen immediately follows him to the meeting location, a quiet tea house. Everything looks normal from the outside, but a dangerous game is unfolding inside. As always, John remains extremely cautious and quickly realizes someone is following him. That person is Helen. The two come face to face once again, but this time Ong is fully prepared because he knows John will never walk into a trap so easily. Ong had already placed his team around the entire area. The moment John tried to escape, officers surrounded him from every direction. But even after everything, John refused to give up. He made one final attempt to run, and that was when he came face to face with Ong. Their final battle began, and for a while both of them fought equally. However, the situation had changed completely. John had nowhere left to escape. Eventually, Ong overpowers him, and the police arrest him. After years of staying ahead of the law, Shadow is finally captured. In the end, the stolen cryptocurrency is recovered, and John is sent to prison. Meanwhile, Ong and Helen successfully complete their mission. Helen is no longer just a young officer. She has learned the same lesson that her father and Ong discovered years ago. Defeating criminals is not only about strength or technology. Patience, intelligence, and making the right decision at the right moment are the greatest weapons. With that, the story of the Shadow's Edge comes to an end.